Welcome back. In this video, we're showcasing the AI Tutoring Sessions, a 1-hour guided interactive tutoring experience with a plan, not just a normal chatbot experience. The AI Tutoring Sessions are a guided lesson where you choose the topics and Aurelius teaches you step by step in a live chat with a whiteboard, so you can draw, paste images, and work things out visually. The tutoring sessions are built around Bloom's taxonomy. You learn the concept, use it, and teach it back. Let's navigate to the tutoring sessions. This is the Tutoring Sessions Hub. Here, you can see your past sessions, search for a previous session, and click a previous session to review what you did. Let's start a new tutoring session. Here, you can select up to 3 specification points that you want to focus on. You can also see the concepts within the specification point, so you know exactly what you'll be studying within the session if you select this point. I just want to select 1.1.2, and you can select 2 more if you wanted to as well, from different topics too. You also have an option for text-to-speech if you'd like the tutor to speak aloud. And here you are. On the left-hand side, you have the whiteboard, where you can draw, enter text, create an equation, and you can also change the colour of the background of the whiteboard. Now it's yellow, green, and back to blue. And you can also add different sheets. So on this sheet, on this whiteboard, I have the equation and the text box. On this whiteboard sheet, I have nothing. So you can add up to 5 of these sheets in the screenshots and pass it to the tutor so Aurelius will be able to see. You can also delete previous sheets too. So now we're back to just 1. And on the right-hand side, you have Aurelius. You can turn the voice on by clicking the voice mode, and you'll hear Aurelius speak, and you can stop the audio if you don't want to hear it. You can see what stage of the tutoring session you're at in the progress square. So at the moment we're setting up, so we're going to define our goals, and we'll get into that in a bit. You can also take a picture of the whiteboard as it is now, and you can see what it looks like, and this will be sent to Aurelius. We don't want to do that at the moment, and all we need to do now is define our goals. I'm just going to say I don't know anything, and it will generate you goals for the session, which you can then change after. You can see your goals now, and you can actually change them. So I can be like, I don't want goal 1 and 3. And it'll be able to know just to give you cache size. So goal 2 is the one we've kept. And once you're happy with your goals, you can simply say yes, you're ready, and it will move you on to the next stage. And in the top right, you'll see the progress bar change to the teaching phase. And now you're being taught the topic from scratch with a simple analogy to start you off, given you know nothing about the subject. If the analogy doesn't make any sense to you, you can always ask for another one. And there you go, you get a completely different analogy to make sure you understand before moving on. Once you're happy with the analogy, you can move on and say yes. And now the teaching phase is what we're in. So Aurelius will teach you from scratch the subject, and then once you're comfortable with it, you'll move on to the next phase, which is the multiple choice questions. So let's just run through this really quickly. I'm now going to demonstrate how we can use the whiteboard on the left to answer questions that Aurelius gives. So on the left, you have an option to also draw on this whiteboard. So if you pick your pen, you can also pick the width of it too. Medium's quite nice. And then you can draw on the whiteboard. So we've now been given the question of what happens to CPU performance if we increase the size of cache. Well, I know that more cache means we can store more frequently used data. And then this leads to now, you can simply take a screenshot of the whiteboard and send it to Aurelius. Aurelius was able to understand what I've written despite my terrible handwriting, and it's confirmed my understanding. At the end of the teaching phase, Aurelius will ask you if you'd like to move on to some questions. Here you have a choice. You can stay in the current phase of teaching, or you can move on. I'm going to choose to move on. And now you move on to the multiple choice questions phase, as you can see in the progress bar in the top. Here you need to get 3 answers correct to move on to the next phase, which is the long answer questions. Here you get a multiple choice question, and you can answer with A, B, C or D. I'm going to get this question wrong so you can see how Aurelius will respond. Aurelius will tell you what the correct answer is and why, and it will explain to you why the other options aren't the best fit. And it will generate you a very similar multiple choice question given the one you've just gotten wrong. And you can also ask it to explain the question as well. I'm just going to get this question right and I'll show you the explanation on the next question. Here I'm going to demonstrate how Aurelius can also help you with the multiple choice questions if you're struggling. Here, Aurelius will explain what the question is saying, and it will look at the options and discuss it with you, without directly giving you the answer so you can figure it out for yourself. C makes the most sense given its explanation, so I'm going to answer with C. Brilliant, we got it right. As you can see, Aurelius was able to explain why the answer I provided was wrong, and help me find the right answer. It was also able to help me understand the question and think for myself without giving me the answer. Once you've answered all 3 questions correctly in multiple choice, you move on to long answer. So let's move on. Here, you need to give a long answer explanation to Aurelius, who will mark it and tell you what mark you got. Aurelius will then give you your marks once you've answered, and it will tell you if you want to move on, and you can also ask any questions here as well, just like we could with the multiple choice questions. The second question you get will be a bit longer, and then once you finish the second question you can also stay on the long answer questions and do even higher marks questions. As you can see, I've gotten both the questions correct, and Aurelius has also given me some extra feedback on how I could have made my long answer questions, my response to my long answer questions, even better. Now, because we've answered 2 out of 2 written questions correctly, we can now move on to the final mastery check. Or we could also stay on this phase and answer more long answer questions, but for now let's move on to the final mastery check. Here, you'll be prompted to explain the concept in your own words. As you can see, I've answered the final mastery check correct, and it was to explain it in my own words. Now, if you don't get it correct, you'll just be asked to do it again and given some advice from Aurelius. And once you've mastered this goal, you are told, and you move on to the next goal if you have more than one. And you can, in the top, in the green bar, in the progress bar, you can see the goals that you've mastered. And once you've mastered all your goals, and you have none left to cover, Aurelius will tell you how much time you have left in the session, and whether you want to do a Q&A session when you can ask Aurelius about any questions you have, or you can finish up with a summary. For now, I'm just going to finish up the summary. At the end of the session, you'll be given a report of what you did well, areas for improvement, and your next steps. So to recap, tutoring sessions give you focused tutoring using specification points, a whiteboard and screenshot workflow for real working out, a voice mode to hear responses read aloud, and a session history so you can review your previous sessions. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video.